All right, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Welcome.
Okay.
Welcome to Slightly Off Target here on this Wednesday. Bo Wilson beside Jeff Hart on the screen. Seth Chapman's behind the mic as our producer today. Well, welcome into the show, gentlemen.
Hi.
Hi.
I would love to be there in person, but apparently I've been banned from the city limits of Gainesville.
Yes,
so
yes, you have.
I'm having to do everything remotely.
They finally had enough.
Yes, it happened. My proposal went through.
Wow. Oh, now I know who was in charge. Wow.
Unanimous decision.
They got my vote in, right?
Oh, yeah.
I was wondering who was in charge of that.
Look, what's happening in the world of sports today? Anybody know anything that's going on? I have not watched anything.
I haven't watched anything today. We've been too busy working, getting ready for this week's. Man, there's some big games on Friday night. Around and a couple of big games on Thursday as well.
Huge.
So yeah, I haven't really been keeping up.
Speaking of those Thursday games, Jeff.
Yes.
Off the top of the show, that's a good idea. North Forsyth at Denmark and East Forsyth at Riverside. North Forsyth starting their Region 6, 7A play a day early than everybody else because
we got no notice or reason for that I'm aware of, unless you know something I don't.
The only thing that I know, there is a shortage of officials. You know, they ask at the beginning of the year.
That's right. I do
If schools
that,
would try to play on a Thursday or a Saturday to help with officials, and apparently they needed to move some things around. So North Forsyth, Denmark on a Thursday, and East Forsyth is at Riverside on Thursday. Do you feel like East Forsyth has a good chance against Riverside? And this is not anything against Riverside.
No.
Okay.
No offense to East Forsyth either. I mean, this is a young, brand new program that's, similar to what Cherokee Bluff went through a few years ago, going through its growing pains. And, I think that they're going to get better. They're going to get better. They're getting more numbers. But Riverside, they ran into a pretty good team last week, but they've got 2 or 3 or 4 really good playmakers on offense. And I kind of like what they're doing. I think it's, I don't think that they're going to blow out East Forsyth like, Bluff did earlier in this year, but, I definitely see them, probably winning by at least 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Look, I'm going to say, you look at East Forsyth's schedule. Now, granted, this is their first year, as everybody knows. They'll play a region schedule next year. If the classifications stay the same, they should be in Region 7 3A, unless that changes up. Which it could. We don't know any numbers yet. That could.
A lot of growth over there.
But their schedule, they started with they played Cherokee Bluff. It's been Whitfield Academy. It's been a brutal stretch for them as far as that goes. And now they get Riverside, who is still, putting things together, with the program. Coach Garrett, talked to him earlier this week. Things are moving up for them, so this could be an interesting game from that standpoint, as both teams are still putting things together. But Riverside probably has the edge in this one.
Oh, I definitely do. And I do think it could be interesting. But I will tell you something. We've talked to Nick Garrett, a bunch. And, he is, he's pretty straightforward. He told us a couple of weeks ago he felt pretty good about getting that win in that opener. I talked to him last week, and he said, hey, this is a good team we're playing. He goes, we're definitely an underdog. And, I'm not going to say it showed, but, that was a pretty good team that they lost to. So, I feel, and he, feel like he's been pretty straightforward. I feel they're just going to have some more guys than East Forsyth. East Forsyth may have the numbers on Riverside, but I don't think that they've got nearly the playmakers that Riverside does. I don't know what you've done in your research, but, I've looked up the Riverside's got, Rodney Robinson. He's got 200 yards already in 3 games and a 100-yard game. Max Vogelbacher, 126 yards and a 100-yard game.
Love that name.
And that kid is all over the field. He does a little bit of everything. We saw him, at least I saw him at the scrimmage when they played East Hall, and they had basically had a JV team. He popped 2 big runs on East Hall, and then they've got a freshman, a kid named Justin Hornick. He's got 112 yards. I mean, they got 3 guys that are over 100 yards in 2 games.
Well, that's just all putting it together for Riverside. We knew that was going to happen.
Right.
We knew it would come together for them, and they would continue to get better as the non-Region 7 season would go. The 6 games playing non-region until they get to their region play, so they've got plenty of time. That one's going to be interesting. Now, the other interesting game on the schedule, and I haven't done much research on Denmark. I know, Jeff, you've probably looked into Denmark more than I have. North Forsyth at Denmark, a big region opener for them, for North Forsyth. And, again, getting off of the right foot in region play is key to setting up your season as far as trying to get that top 4 spots in the region. So this is a very important game for the Raiders.
It's huge. For the Raiders, here's something encouraging. They're 3-2 in region openers under Robert Kraft. But the Danes are 3-0 in their very brief history. So something's probably going to have to give there. You look at these teams in the last 4, 5, 6 years, and, Denmark's only been around for 3. But offense, they've been known for their offense. Mm-hmm. This year, both of these teams are kind of setting a defensive standard in 7A. Statistically,
holy cow,
Denmark is second in Class 7A. They're only giving up 7 points a game. North Forsyth is third, only giving up 9 points a game.
How about the output, though, Jeff, for Denmark?
This is what I was going to say. Right now, Denmark has scored the 5th fewest points in 7A. They've only scored 31 points. I think that's where North Forsyth may have a little edge. They have a little more firepower on offense. They're big. And I think this might be the year, Denmark has had probably as good a start as a program as any team in the history of the state of Georgia. When you look at what they've been able to do in just 3 years, but this might be that sort of rebuilding year. I mean, they're showing they can play some defense, but I don't think they played the schedule that Denmark that North Forsyth has. I'm going to go. I think I would probably have to lean a little bit toward North Forsyth in this game.
Let's stay in this region for just a moment. Region 6, 7A.
You got it.
Lambert is 4-0 on the season.
Well, they were 4-0 last year, I believe, weren't they?
I don't know. We'll have to go back and look. They are the top scoring team in this region. Now, Centennial, Lassiter, Meadow Creek, Duluth.
Right.
Does that raise your eyebrow any?
Lambert and South Forsyth.
Right.
What you're asking.
That's this week. Lambert and South Forsyth.
Right.
A big game for them.
I really think that South Forsyth is probably going to roll this game. I really do. That's just my gut. Kind of going up. I'm pulling up the Lambert stats.
Yeah, but look at these.
They were 4-0.
They were 4-0 last year. Okay.
4-0, exact same spot.
Okay.
Playing now, they were at South Forsyth last year, and South Forsyth started them on a 4-game losing streak with a 44-14 win.
How many points had they scored through
last year?
4 games.
They had scored about 100 and almost 130 points last year.
Okay, so they've improved 4 games. So they've improved a bit offensively. 159 points. They lead the region as far as scoring goes. But look at this region: 2-1, 3-1, 2-1, 4-0, 3-1, 2-1.
Right.
Forsyth Central 1-2.
Right.
So
look, it's a good result.
Every game, every week is going to be
right. But let's look
meaningful.
now. I'm going to say let's look and see who they played. Lambert, a not so good Centennial.
Well, no, that's what I was saying earlier.
A terrible Lassiter team.
Right.
Meadow Creek is never any good. Duluth hardly ever any good.
Right.
I mean, that's their 4 wins. I mean, look, you still have to go and play.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not sure that I see anything different this year as far as Lambert goes. Now, this will be the test. I mean, if Lambert, they got him at home, and if somehow they're able to knock off South Forsyth, that's going to make people notice. But I would have to say they're going to have to show me something for me to feel that they're a true contender. I feel like they're still a pretender at this point.
Well, this region is going to take shape start to take shape after Thursday, and definitely after Friday, and we'll know who's in. We think we'll know who's in the driver's seat, but you never know. But a lot of big games on the schedule. Don't forget our Pick'em show coming up tomorrow or on Friday, because today is Wednesday, right? on Friday. So we went through the whole schedule. We did our pick'ems. We didn't pick, by the way, we did not pick North Forsyth at Denmark and East Forsyth at Riverside simply because those games were going to be over by the time we publish our pick'em show. And yes, we do pre-record the pick'em show. But two interesting games Thursday night. We'll have something on the website about those two games coming up on Thursday. All right,
let's
Jeff.
hope so. Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. Okay, Jeff, some headlines in the news. Right now, USC, that is Southern California, firing their coach. Georgia, South Carolina this week on Saturday. Interesting there. GHSA, they are meeting on Thursday to talk about the reclassification committee because we are in the cycle, Jeff. We're going to have new regions coming up for the 2022-23 season.
We could have whole new classifications. I mean, there could be a lot of changes depending on which one of these proposals or some sort of, a hybrid kind of thing. I mean, that's, nobody's really talking about that. It could be that they kind of put these things together and create something. It's going to be tomorrow's meeting down in Thompson could be one of the most important the GHSA has had probably in its history because it could end up being all public schools and all private schools.
Well, let me ask you this as we begin our slightly off-target, on-target segment here of the show as we'll roll through it. Do you think GHSA is on target or off target to even accept, and not accept, but look at and consider this proposal proposed by the, 9 largest private schools, Benedictine, Blessed Trinity, GAC, sorry, Seth, Lovett, Marist, Pace, St. Pius, Westminster, Woodward?
I do think it's on target from this standpoint. It's always good to have options and see what is out there. If any 1 or 2 or 3 people think they have every solution when you're talking of, 400 high schools in the state of Georgia, you're pipe dreaming. So it's always good to see some other ideas and what's out there because somebody may trigger something that goes, you know what, that's something nobody's ever thought of, and that could be the way to go. So I think it's on target to look at it for sure. I think, whether it'll be on target to accept it as policy, we'll just have to see what's in the actual details. But I think it's on target for sure to look at all ideas.
Well, this would add another 14 pages to the GHSA Constitution, or the White Book, as everybody calls it. But if you look at this proposal, it's like I said, created by the 9 independent schools, which are the private schools that are currently above 1A private classification, because 1A private has already done their thing. It won't change. It's Class A private and Class A public. Now, this one is talking about limit the number of independent schools above 1A private to 6 schools in 2 classifications, 4 and 5A, removing 21 state championships won by private schools in Class 2A and 3A. It also retains large private schools under the formal governance of the GHSA. I think that was the biggest deal because initially Georgia High School Association, some of the guys on the board basically saying, look, we're going to boot you, basically, in a sense, not technically speaking, but they wanted to push them up to, 7A or 6A or, just get them up there in the upper classifications. And we all know that wouldn't have worked out for a lot of the sports in a private school. I mean, sure, it's going to work out for maybe basketball, football, some of those sports, soccer. We know the schools that are good in those certain sports. So, but this one, I think it makes sense as far as the proposal goes. Just glancing at it and reading it, I think probably putting them in 4A, 5A might be a good place to be. Maybe even 5A, 6A. Mm-hmm. But yeah, look, if you're talking about putting GAC, if the GHSA said we're going to put GAC in 7A, they're not going to. They won't win a game. No, they're not. Sorry. I mean, look, they have quality across the board in a lot of their sports, but they're not going to beat any of those 7A schools. In football, they're probably not going to beat them in baseball or basketball. They would almost be non-competitive, which would be unfair to the kids in that school. Look, I don't think you should punish
kids whose parents want to put them in private schools for whatever particular reason, whether it's for the athletics or, the other extracurricular opportunities or, just the academics itself, if they feel that it's better.
Right.
You don't want to punish. I don't like punishing the kids that play, but on the other hand, you're also punishing, programs like Banks County and Towns County, making towns play Prince Avenue Christian and Athens Academy and Hebron Christian and other places like that, where they can get good quality numbers by being able to attract academically and other things. At Towns County, being the smallest public high school in the state, they're not going to be able to offer those things. So you're punishing Towns County. There's no perfect solution.
There's not a perfect solution to that,
but I think bumping everybody into 7A, those programs would die as we know it.
No, they would. And it's also the attraction of, hey, we can recruit, and not get in trouble for it because we are a private school.
And I know that's why a lot of public schools.
That's the biggest thing.
Right. I know that's why a lot of public schools are pushing for this. And, there's nothing wrong with that. If your school bylaws, if you're GAC, and I'm not picking on GAC or Wesleyan or any of these other things, say, look, you want to come here, you're good this, we can offer you an academic scholarship. We have great academics. The parents want to put their kids in a school like that. I have no problem with that. I think I like school choice. I think people should have a school. If you don't like your public school for whatever particular reason, I think there should be options for somewhere for you to go. Whether you play sports or don't play sports, or you're in the band, or you're in drama club, whatever. I think everybody should have choice. So I have no problem with that. But again, Towns County, Banks County, I'm picking some of these smaller schools. They can't really recruit. They can't offer some of the things that some of these other private schools would be able to do with comparable numbers, but really be able to attract high quality. And nothing against any of these other programs. But, when you're Banks County, you have the people that live there. If you're Towns County, you have the people that live there. If you're Chessie, you have the people that live there. That's what you're limited to.
Well, GHSA also going to take a look at, there is a proposal to drop it from the multiplier from 2 to 1.5 when calculating the school's reclassification student count, which is considered out-of-district students. Would count 1.5 instead of 2. So some interesting things going to happen coming up on Thursday, which is tomorrow at the reclassification meeting. All right, Jeff. So a lot of bad NFL games over the weekend. I was at one of them, and you came up with this one. Are the Falcons the worst team in the NFL?
You want me to answer first, or you saw it in person? I'd be interested to see from a bird's eye in-person view your thoughts.
Well, I think I tweeted it out on Sunday. New coach, same results. I mean, this is if you really want me to get on a rant here, I can get on a rant because the Falcons.
You're paying. Yeah, you paid for that too.
The Falcons look completely the same. There, when you get a new regime in there, as far as coaching goes, a new coaching staff, you've done some draft picks, you've made a few moves. And you look the same, then there's a problem because you've fired Dan Quinn for not getting the job done. You show up week 1 and get beat, the worst in franchise history to open a game, 32-6.
Right.
Matt Ryan couldn't do anything. Of course, I'm not huge on Matt Ryan. His offensive line sucked. It was terrible. The defense was Swiss cheese at times. The run game was the only positive for the Falcons, in my opinion. They started the run game well, and then, get down inside the red zone and can't do anything. Matt Ryan can't get out of the way of his own shadow. What else you want to hear from this? I
think I got it. So you think they are the worst? I think they're the worst team in the NFL. Now,
if not, they're close.
Huh?
If not, they're
close. And what happened to the Packers? They got beat 38-3 by the Saints.
Yeah, they did. They got
without
hammered.
Drew Brees.
Right. Jameis Winston had himself a game, by the way.
But the Falcons, I was, look, I was.
Look, kudos to Jameis Winston, by the way. I heard his post-game interview, and the guy has really grown up. Got to give it to him.
Yeah, look, my only thing when I watch any sports is, hey, can they play? Can they do it consistently? Do they give their, if you're in a team sport, do you give your team a chance to win? And I think that's what it's all about. He's in that exclusive club. He threw for 5,000 yards, but then he's also in another exclusive club where he threw for 30 touchdowns and threw 30 interceptions in a season.
Right.
So which one is he? So I think the Saints, the only time will tell. Look, he's following a legend. So, I don't think I would have I'm not signing with them. I'm sorry.
I honestly, I don't believe the Falcons will be any good until Arthur Blank sells the team.
Ooh.
I think the number one problem with the Atlanta Falcons is Arthur Blank. Period.
Wow. Look, you may be right.
Let me go back to something else before, because if you remember the Georgia Dome games, do you remember those games? They were packed out all the time. They packed out Georgia Dome.
It didn't seem like it was.
It's a great place to watch a game. They tear the Georgia Dome down. Now the Georgia Dome curse is happening to the Falcons. And plus, you're never going to get a full house for a Falcons game.
They're awful. You would if they were good.
Maybe if they were good, but you're still going to pay arm and a leg for the tickets.
Right. Look, based on what I saw, I wasn't there in the stadium like you were, but based on what I was watching in the game, and they were doing replays. Matt Ryan missed so many passes. I mean, a guy would run 10-yard button hook. All you got to do is throw it to him, and it would be 2 yards to the left, 2 yards to the right. Matt Ryan is losing it, and he's losing it fast. Now, he may have had happy feet because he was on his butt more than was standing up, it seemed like. But, because the offensive line was terrible. But, I thought the defense, I think I texted you, hey, the defense is playing well. Then boom, boom, boom. And,
you're wrong.
Based on one game, they're far worse already this year than they were last year. I think they're the worst team in the league.
I think I've said it a million times. I think you've said it too. Matt Ryan has to have 85 and sunny with no breeze to have a good game, and that's meaning
he's got to have a force field around.
That's meaning that he can't do what Lamar Jackson does. He can't do what what's his name over at Kansas City. Even Russell Wilson, he can't get out of the way, so he has to have max protection. The Falcons totally blew the offseason with their offensive line. Totally blew it.
Right.
And I've said 1,000 times, why don't they try to build through good free agent linemen instead of drafting?
They totally screwed it when they didn't trade Julio Jones either before the end of the season or a couple of seasons ago when he had max trade value. They could have traded him for an entire offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, so, I don't know whose fault that is. Is that Arthur Blank's? Is that the GM's fault? Whose fault is all that?
Arthur Blank.
Well, I know it's just shocking. I'm not a big NFL watcher anymore, but I didn't have anything to do. So we turned it on and I was watching it while I was working on some stuff for this week. And I was, I was just I was shocked at how bad they were. I thought they were going to be just better because they were so bad last year. I
Not
was
the case.
stunned at how
Not
bad
the
they
case.
were. They're
Not
terrible.
The case. All right, Georgia, the best team in the country, on target, off target.
Man, based on what I've seen in 2 games, I think they are the best team in the country.
Now, I've not seen Bama play. Have you watched
Bama play? I've seen both games that they play.
I'm going to have to straddle the fence on this one. I feel like Georgia is, but that might be the fandom in me. But, I have not seen Bama play yet.
Look, I'm a fan. I think they are the best team right now. When you look at what they've been able to do.
I'm telling you, man. You 6'6", 340-pound Jordan Davis.
Oh, man, that play, 100 years from now, they're going to go, look, humans were that big and can still
run
move
that fast and run down a receiver or running back on the sideline, from the hash to the sideline, and made an incredible play.
Me and Stacey were watching that game, and I just said, did you see that?
Yeah.
And she goes, what? And I said, Jordan Davis just ran that dude down from 30 yards. Well, she was like, no way. I was like, yeah. And they showed the replay over. I was just like, that is ridiculous.
Out of all
that is ridiculous. The reason I think Georgia is the best team right now is because, offensively and defensively, they just seem to have 2 units right now that seem unstoppable. I don't want to say, oh, this is like Alabama from a year ago or LSU from 2 years ago, because it's only 2 games. But, me and you were talking before last week before that game, what Georgia team were we going to get? Were we going to get the team that was going to let down after a big win like they had in the opener against Clemson, or were they going to come out and do their best Bama impersonation, where you would watch Alabama play a bad team and they'd be up 21-0, 28-0 in the first quarter? We got the second one. We got the team that came out, and we're going to destroy this team and give them no hope of winning this game right from the beginning. And that's what they did. And Alabama struggled a little bit with Mercer, which is why I'm going to give Georgia the nod right now as best team in the country.
Okay, so Georgia covers the spread against South Carolina, which I think is at 30.5, maybe.
I think they do. I really think they do. South Carolina is not very good. I mean, they needed a field goal at the end to beat. I don't even know who they were playing.
Wow.
it was a 1AA. Terrible.
They
looked awful.
Well, going to be interesting. Now, earlier this week, we got out, checked out our Game of the Edge, which is going to post on AccessWDUN.com later on today. And Seth has a sneak peek from our Game of the Edge feature.
Touchdown, Raven County.
He is relentless. It don't matter whether he plays defense, he plays offense, he plays special teams. I don't think he knows how to go half speed, and that's what we want out of him.
He really is a great kid. He's friendly. He's easy to get along with. But you always know that he'll put in more work than anybody else around him. And he really does just work hard for everything that he has accomplished this season.
When you're putting up those kind of numbers like you did this Friday, what's going through your mind at that point?
Don't mess up.
Don't mess up.
Yeah.
Zig Clanton at Lanier Christian Academy, 164 yards rushing. He had like 3 or 4 touchdowns. He is our Getting the Edge feature, and that'll be up on the site here later on today. So congrats to him. LCA, Jeff, is what are they averaging, like 75 points a game?
I think, they go deep into the fourth quarter, hitting 3-pointers. It's it's like basketball numbers. It's crazy. But, I tell you what's interesting is back in the summer when we were doing the magazine and getting ready to, drop our Friday game night page and all that kind of stuff, we went out and talked to Bruce Miller. We thought that was probably the most interesting hire, certainly in this area, if not the entire state. And this was a kid that he said, Zeke Clanton's going to be a player. This is going to be one of the best players in the area. It doesn't matter what league he's playing in. He's put up some numbers. That whole team has put up some numbers. And he's trying to build that so that maybe they can look into, moving up out of that 8-man league. But whether you're playing 8-man or 11-man, you're playing by the rules and how the team, they are absolutely just slapping teams. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what the Miller effect is over at LCA, obviously.
Wow.
All right, full slate of games for you coming up this Friday as we're talking about Thursday games tomorrow. North Forsyth at Denmark, East Forsyth at Riverside. You go to the website, you can see the full list of games. Coming up tomorrow, though, on Access, you can take a look at previews of all of the area games as Jeff has been working so diligently on those all week long. Jeff,
I do what I can.
Tip of the hat to you.
Thank you. Look, I do the bare minimum, the very least that I need to do.
That's right. Work smarter, not harder, right? Yeah. Also, a feature.
I hope Bill Maine's not watching this. Also,
now he's having an interesting off day. So you will also have a feature coming up for Cy Central at Gainesville. That'll be a feature also coming up on Thursday. So check that out. It's a pick show coming up Friday. What else we got going on? Coach's Corner on the site now. Also, games to watch up on the site as well, and many more things happening
There's a lot going
everywhere
on.
and anywhere.
Softball is starting to, hit its stretch drive. Same for volleyball. There's going to be some big cross country meets coming up. But it's busy fall, and we're trying to keep up with everything. There's a lot of teams and a lot going on. I tell you, it's we're about to start to get into the real fun of the football season.
Yes, region.
Everybody starts to get into region play.
No doubt.
I'm trying not to look ahead to next week. Jefferson and Larry Branch.
Yeah, stop.
Yeah, I know.
Big games coming up. Big games coming up. We're gonna get out of here though before Jeff starts drooling on the air.
Yeah, you can cut my feed. Yeah, I'm drooling already.
All right, Jeff's on Twitter at HardJJ22. I'm at the Bo Wilson at Friday Game Night on Twitter at Access WD1 Sports on the Instagram, which is growing a lot, by the way. Also, check us out on YouTube. All of our videos are there. You can watch everything that we do. As Seth Chapman does a fantastic, bless you, job of handling our YouTube. AccessWD1.com is where to go to find out everything about high school football on 26 area teams around Northeast Georgia. For Seth, Jeff, I'm Bo. Enjoy week number 5, high school football.